morning, welcome to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Colleen Zimmerman from TERRA, and we're at the potting bench, and we are talking about the top 5 perennials right now.
Some
we
fun
like
new
to do this
stuff.
every year, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Because there's always something new, and I know we were saying how it's so difficult because I know like you have a beautiful garden, and you get excited because you want to add to it every year.
Every year, there's always something new. So this is my top 5 pick for this year.
Okay. All right. So where should we start?
Okay. Well, let's start over here. This is called Phlox Early Start. It's a series, so there's a few different colors involved. There's a light pink, a pink, and a violet, and they're really pretty because these bloom a few months or about a month earlier than your regular upright phlox.
Oh, that's always nice,
and
right?
Yes, and so you get that little extra out of them.
Yes.
They're fragrant and compact. So they're just really nice to add to the garden.
And they really grow quite upright, don't they? Like how are we at like maximum height there? Or are they going to grow?
Yeah, this is
more?
about the maximum
That's what I
height
figured,
here.
yeah.
These ones are still to flower, and as they flower, they'll kind of spread out. You can see that the flowers are really compact in here.
Yes.
So then as they bloom, then they'll start to kind of spread out and grow up a little bit more.
And if you combine the colors and again, as you say, them flowering earlier in the season, it's quite nice, something to look forward to. And people like to time out their gardens, right?
Yes.
So that you do have color all year.
That's one of the great things with perennials is it's not static. There's
Yes.
always something new happening. There's always something coming on, always something finishing.
And that's what's exciting about it. And people who love to be out in the garden, that's people literally just get a real kick out of walking through their garden and seeing, okay, now I'm into June, now I'm into July. What's going to happen as we move into the fall, and that's what makes it so fun, right?
It's that discovery. I love it.
Exactly, and especially when they're new and as we say, new and exciting, beautiful flowers. Okay, so let's talk about these guys.
These are a new clematis. It's called Clematis Bijou, and it's a dwarf clematis.
Okay.
So it can be used either upright, so you can train it like a regular clematis, but it only grows about 2.5 feet tall.
Okay.
So the one nice thing about this, it works really well in containers. So it'll just spill out over top of a container, or you can put it in like a small obelisk or with a small trellis, or you can also use it as a ground cover planted directly in your garden.
Great, and that's the best thing. Again, sometimes people just want low maintenance as well, right? If you don't have a lot of time to be in your garden, if you, as you're saying, putting these into to planters, into boxes, it just done. Plant them. There you go, right?
And clematis is such a popular plant that even if you have just a balcony, you don't have a garden, and you love clematis, you can still plant clematis and enjoy the flower bloom of the clematis by using this.
Any major upkeep of clematis? Should you be kind of
not
back,
really? The only thing is like trimming it back in the spring.
Yes.
Just trimming it back lightly in the spring, and then after that, it's pretty self-sustaining. All of the ones that we've kind of chosen today are dwarf varieties too, so they're not going to go out of control.
Right.
Not very much maintenance whatsoever.
And that's another thing, when we talk about the fact that a lot of people don't have a lot of property anymore, right? There's just some people, as you're saying, literally are dealing with the smallest little tiny patio balcony in their property, and that is their garden. That's all they have. So they want to put as much as they can in there without it being overrun by giant plants.
This also works though if you do have a larger property. Like I have a larger property, but I want to maximize what I put in there.
Exactly.
So I can fit more plants in.
You can fit more variety, right?
More variety and more plants if I go with some of the smaller, and I don't have as much time, which most people don't. I've got 2 small children, so that kind to take up time too.
They tend to do that.
Yeah, they like to help.
yes, and we all know helping sometimes takes more time.
Yes, it does.
But you want to encourage that. What are the colors with these options?
These are blue.
Oh, they are blue. Okay, beautiful. All right, so going over to some more color over here. Love these.
Yes, this is a new salvia out called Lyrical Silver Tone.
Okay.
And the nice thing about this is that, again, it's a compact variety, very upright, very clump forming. But if you look really, really closely at the flowers, it's actually a 2-tone flower. So there's like a lavender and a darker purple in the same flower.
Beautiful.
And each stem just gets covered with blooms, and they bloom for a very long time. Love it hot, love it sunny. And they're really easy to grow.
Now, with something like this, when how much attention do you have to pay when you're planting perennials to any of them conflicting with each other, just not liking to be together? Like, are all these okay? Like, could you put these with these over here and you'd
all
be
of the ones today are mostly sun plants. A few of them you can get away with a little bit of like a half day's sun, but this year, just with the sunny garden, it's as hot as it's been.
Right.
Then the top 5 are mostly sun plants this year.
And that's the thing. I mean, obviously, generally we're gearing our plants here at TERRA, we're gearing around our climate zone and what we deal with in Southern Ontario. But, you'll have to look at your property too. And if you are really not getting much sun at all on your property, and you have to kind of reevaluate sometimes, right?
Exactly.
And what can grow in that environment. So these are great. And again, how close should you be planting these?
Depending on the plants, those particular salvias are probably about a couple feet apart, because each plant will be about 2 feet wide.
Oh, they're going to get.
Those ones will fill out a lot more.
Okay. All right.
So just all the labels are really good at telling you like how wide the plant's going to get. because sometimes it's deceiving when you buy it in a pot and it's just nice and compact.
It is,
but
and
it
people
will
do that with
fill out.
trees, right? I
Yes.
mean, we know people will do that. They take this cute little sapling and plant it near the house, and then all of a sudden it's in your backyard,
Huge.
neighbor's backyard,
Exactly.
and it goes through your window. So it's the same thing with plants.
Yes.
So read these cute little tags that are in there. They're there for a reason, right?
Yes.
All right, what about this guy?
Now this one, you'll have to visualize the potential of this one. This is a daisy.
I see nothing right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Every garden needs a daisy in it.
Okay.
And this new series called the Real Series, we have Real Dream, Real Galaxy, Real Glory. They're a typical looking daisy with the plant, but the flowers are absolutely incredible. This particular one here has 3 tiers of petals. So it's a
Wow.
really full daisy flower, and it comes out kind of like a creamy yellow.
Wow.
And it's just
I
beautiful.
love it. So again, you can't judge this guy by how he's looking right now.
No, it's
gonna be stunning.
Stunning, and it just gives that little extra to like an old-fashioned classic, like
Sure.
your daisy.
Yes, and you're right. You have to have a daisy in your
Yes.
garden. All right, and moving towards this one.
These ones here are sedum.
Yep.
Everybody's familiar with the sedum. This one's called Dazzleberry, and I just love this one because even when it's not in bloom, the texture of the leaves, and that's
I know,
one
I
thing
love
that's
that.
great, is choosing plants for multi-seasonal interest. So this one here, it will bloom in late summer, mid to late summer. But even now, it's got just stunning foliage on it. The color is great, so it contrasts with a lot of other things like this put with like a chartreuse leaf or
Yes.
even just a plain green leaf. It really stands out. And then it's got a thick, fleshy texture.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So that is
Beautiful.
It's a succulent, so it can
Yes.
grow hot, dry, pretty much anywhere you want to put it.
It almost looks like a rose when you're looking at it, the way
It
it's
does.
structured, right? It's so beautiful just within the petals itself. Like it's just, it's gorgeous. And that's again, another good point that you're making. It's also you want to look for different color tones and again different textures, and that's what gives you the more appeal to your garden when you're looking at it, right? You don't want to stick with all the same.
And that's the fun part I think about perennial gardening is that you don't have to stick with just the flower color. Like there's so many different things, such as the sedum or even the clematis here with the different textures of the leaves, and choosing different textures and counting on not just the flower color but the
Right.
leaf texture, leaf color, the combinations of 2 different things together, and just playing around with
Just
it.
playing around with it and having fun. So, can you plant a perennial anytime through the season, or should you stick more to spring and fall?
You'll probably find your best selection in the spring, but you can pretty much plant any time. During the heat of the summer, I don't usually recommend it,
Yes,
but
it's a little hard on
you
it.
can do it. It just takes a little extra care.
Okay.
And don't forget your transplant fertilizer when you plant.
That's
so.
key, right? And
Yeah.
fertilizers, we know that's its vitamins and its food that it
Yeah.
really helps flourish. And
Gets
why
it
wouldn't
established.
you give it that, right?
Exactly.
It needs that, or it's just going to be sitting there dormant for a while.
Yeah.
Not behaving. Well, thank you. Always good. So these are the
Thank
top
you.
5 perennials, as according to Colleen. Always good to know. TERRA always has the fun stuff, and you can spend hours here trying to figure out which one, or 5, or 6. All right, that's it for now. Thanks, Colleen. We'll be back with more. When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
Heritage Perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning. Welcome back to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Boris Brott. It's nice to have you back on the show.
Very nice to be back.
You know, I
Thank you.
understand you were in Italy not too long ago, and we were just talking about how lovely and perfect the weather was. And
Yes, about a month ago, actually.
Yes.
It was quite spectacular. I was in Verona conducting at the La Reina di Verona, and was in Rome for a couple of days, and was beautiful, and about 21, 22, and you know, it doesn't stay that way for long. Around,
No.
you know, it gets hot now.
Right. So that was prime time for you. So what
Could've
an
been
experience
nicer.
it is for you. And that's the thing with your background and all that you've done over the years. Something like that must still very, very special to you.
Making music in general is very special to me. I mean, every occasion is special, and working with great orchestras over there, they have a wonderful energy and enthusiasm that, interestingly, I find here at the National Academy Orchestra, because they too have a great youth and energy in their performance, and this is particularly the way Italians make music, and so I think the two in a way are similar, and a nice combination. For me, I've been doing a lot of opera lately, and I want to continue to doing that. We're going to do an Italian opera evening as far as the festival is concerned in mid-July.
Okay, so let's talk about the summer series a little bit, and then we'll come back to the NAO
Sure.
in a little as well. And so every year people look forward to the summer series because it is just an opportunity to, again, be presented with so many different styles and types of music, and just, again, being enlightened by music in the summertime.
Absolutely, and there's such an opportunity to do eclectic programming. We're doing an evening of Frank Sinatra, for example, which we've
Right.
never done before, with a Sinatra clone, I'm calling. He probably wouldn't like this, from the United States. It's phenomenal, and he really sounds like Frank Sinatra. It's quite amazing. And so we have all kinds of arrangements of Sinatra hits that we're going to be doing, all the way to Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, which is a seminal moment in music history, because it really literally changed music history, and it's 100 years old, which is hard to imagine.
It is.
And I have a
is.
close connection because the conductor at that occasion 100 years ago was Pierre Monteux, who was my mentor, and I participated with him in the 50th anniversary at the Royal Albert Hall, and so I'll be conducting the 100th anniversary here at the festival
So
on the
that has a
14th of August.
Really special place for you.
Very much so. Very
Isn't
much
that
so.
amazing? Wow, and what an experience! And that's the thing when we're talking about, you know, from one to the other, and so many different types of music. And music makes people feel good. Everybody, no matter who you are, there is a place for music somewhere.
And there's a place for live music. You know,
Right.
today music is everywhere, and yet nowhere at all. I'm always kind of amused when I go to dinner parties with people and they put on classical music, especially for me, and they say, well, just as background music. And for me, it can't be background music because my attention is drawn
I
from
can
the
just
conversation
imagine.
to it.
Yes.
And so I said, please, if you wouldn't mind, just turn it off, because I love the silence, because I want to hear the conversation. And
this is
music is
very
often an
interesting.
accompaniment to everything. It's on, you know, in subways and buses and trains, and when, you know, wherever you go, shopping centers and so on, everybody's playing music at you.
So you're finding it's more acute to you because of your background in music, and well, you are music. When it is
Well, I
on,
like
it's
silence. I really do. I really appreciate silence. That's why I love being up in Muskoka, you know, and I love being there now, you know, when before all the tourists get there.
Right.
So it's great.
you're not playing music when you're up at your cottage. You like
No.
more quiet?
Well, I mean, I study up there and I do
Right.
my own music, but I don't like background music. But I mean, let's get back to the idea of coming to music live.
I know, and
You
we
know,
could talk to you
people
for
watch
an hour about
hockey,
this,
for
but-
example,
right.
or watch football. On television, it's not. I mean, excuse me, I know we're on television, but it's not the same as being there live.
Right.
And I'd like to encourage people to, even if they've never gone to a concert before, to come and try it out, because I have so many young people coming to me today who are used to consuming their music through their earphones or
Right.
headsets or
Live is very
or
different.
It's very different, and it opens up a whole new world to them.
Sure. So how does the music series work? How do people
Well,
attend?
First of all, they can go to our website, which is brottmusic.com, 2 T's, BROTTMUSIC.com, and there on that website you'll find out everything you need to know if you want to buy tickets, or you can also call us on our, we have a line, a line in Hamilton, 905-525 7664, which is song, 525 song, you can remember that. And we have people, live individuals, people there ready to take ticket orders.
And then you can really
talk to
take
you
a
about
look
it.
at what
Absolutely.
style of music that you want, and maybe go for something that you haven't.
Completely different,
right?
that you've never gone to
Exactly.
before. Never heard an opera, come to our opera program. You've never heard Sinatra, I can't believe that. Come to the
Hard to
Sinatra
imagine.
program.
Right.
You want to hear Tchaikovsky, you want to hear Beethoven, come to the Beethoven program.
But what a nice thing to do in the summer and have different dates to look forward to.
And we have different places that we work in too, in Ancaster, at the church in Ancaster, and on Wilson Street, and we also do concerts at the Botanical Gardens, and we do concerts at Mohawk College. We're kind of in residence at Mohawk College, but also at the Burlington Performing Arts Center. There's a beautiful new concert hall there, a gorgeous place. We're opening our festival with Mozart's Requiem on the 19th of June. And then we go all the way through to the 14th of August. Some 18 concerts in between the two.
So lots of opportunity for people.
A great
and
deal
let's
of
talk a little bit about the NAO and the opportunity for youth to really, in this program you developed, what, 26 years ago?
26 years ago. Well, the National Academy Orchestra is an unusual combination of players. It's auditioned every year. Some people say it's a youth orchestra. It's not. I mean, it's a professional, highly professional orchestra, people with multiple degrees, having gone through their education. And it's really a transition program between the end of schooling and getting a job. And so we also mentor people. So we have principal players from orchestras across the whole country and from out of town and out of the country as well, coming and playing along with the musicians in that orchestra.
So it's a great exposure for them.
Huge exposure, and it is of such a high quality. And I keep saying this every year. People must think, oh gosh, he always says that the orchestra is better this year than it's ever been. But we've completed all the auditions, and we've got the young people now together with us, and it's quite amazing. They are better than any orchestra we've had in the last 26 years. The quality of the graduates coming out of universities now is so high, and we get over 400 applications a year, and we can only take 50. So it's
the competition
really
is steep.
The competition is steep, and roughly 1 in 10 get an opportunity. So the quality, you can imagine. Sometimes the choices are hard to make.
I can imagine. And well, you know what? But over 26 years, again, as you say, the standards have grown.
Standards have just developed.
Sure.
And the challenges of getting these people employed afterwards are also considerable.
That too, right? Okay, so we want to make sure, we always appreciate you coming on the show. We want to make sure and encourage people to check out the Summer Festival this year.
Please.
And just enjoy music, and again, live music. Embrace live music.
Enjoy, please.
Right?
It's the atmosphere is beautiful. It's air conditioned. Most of our places are air conditioned or outside. And the music is truly first class. On a very high professional level,
and I know they'll love.
Well, no, not necessarily. I don't mean that, but, people think of young people as being students. We're all students.
Yes.
But these people are the very best graduates, and so they together create one of the finest orchestras in North America.
Well, thank you for bringing that to us. We always love it and look forward to it.
And thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for coming.
Okay, well, and have a wonderful
summer. Thank all of you for coming.
All right, we'll be back with more TERRA at Home after this.
When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra restaurant in Hamilton, and we're hanging out by the grill today.
We're doing some grilling today,
All right,
yes.
Very good. And you know what? Some people are really great in the kitchen but are afraid of the grill, or vice versa, so we're going to enlighten people, give some people some tips, good ideas.
A few different ways of cooking. We're going to do a couple different recipes today, and then this one that we're going to do is very, very traditional. Now, every civilization and every kind of culture has their own way of cooking under a brick. So this is, in Italy, it's called Pollo de Mattone.
Okay.
So it's a Tuscan way of cooking, and basically you're using a brick and you're putting it on top of chicken. So this is what we're
Interesting.
gonna. Yeah, it's a little bit different if you're not
Like,
used to
what?
it. Yes.
But yes, we hear about it, but a lot of people just wouldn't even know how to begin, right?
Where to
So,
begin?
Yeah.
So first thing we do is we buy smaller chickens. So you can use a Cornish hen.
Okay.
Or what they call a fryer chicken. The roaster chickens are a little bit large because you're probably going to serve about a half per person, so
Right.
you don't want it too big.
Okay.
Then you're going to take it and you have to debone part of it. So you have to take out the backbone, you have to take out the breastplate.
Yes.
Okay, because
Yes.
you want that brick to sit on top of the chicken in the barbecue and flatten it out so it's
flatten it.
nice and even all the way around.
Okay,
So
makes
that's
sense.
what we've done here. Then I've brined it. So
Right.
brining is a real important part, and a lot of people skip that when you're doing poultry. And you know, it really changes the flavor of the meat and really enhances everything that you're trying to do.
I've heard a lot of people talking about brining lately. Everybody's, you know, again, it's a really old traditional method. But again, people are a lot of people are kind of going back there now. But how do I do this, and how much better is it going to make it? You know?
What you're doing is you're going to take salt and sugar and you're going to boil it in water with some herbs. So in this one I use some sage, I use a little bit of lemon, rosemary, we got some peppercorns in there, and a little bit of fresh marjoram. And
Okay.
then boiled all that, and then you chill it. Okay.
Right.
Once it's cold, then you put your poultry in, let it soak. I'd say a minimum of 4 hours. You can do it overnight.
Okay.
And then once
Okay.
you take it out, what it does is incorporates, it really fluffs up the protein and it gives it a lot of
See,
moisture,
I
and
see,
that's what you're
okay.
looking to do. Because with the brick, the weight of the brick on top, you're going to be squishing out some of that moisture,
right.
but at the same time, you're going to be searing in a lot of it.
Okay.
And that makes a big difference when you're doing it.
Now, when you're brining, how, you know, obviously you have some control of the salt, but how much is it raising the sodium levels of in the meat?
It raises it a bit, but it's nothing that is not manageable.
Okay. Because you normally have to salt meat anyway, right?
That's right.
So
That's right. So you're going to have, what this does is it helps get the salt concentration into the meat,
Right.
as opposed to just salting the exterior
Right.
of it, all the outside surface areas.
Okay.
So we've taken that out. You can rinse it if you want. This one I'm not rinsing, but you could rinse the brine solution. We're going to do a light salt on this side, and light pepper. And then I'm going to flip it over. Now you're going to need 2 sets of tongs because you've taken out that bone and the breast.
Right,
It's
you don't have
very
much
soft.
holding it in there, right?
That's right. It's not going to stick together.
Okay.
And then we'll put a little salt on this side, a little bit of pepper, and that's pretty much
All
ready
right.
to go right onto the grill.
Okay.
So what I have here, I have a brick, and it's a big one. I got the largest one I could
Yeah, I
find
was gonna say,
want.
it's pretty. There you go.
And I've covered it in foil.
Okay.
I'm going to take the chicken, I'm going to put it skin side first down, and then I'm going to take my brick, and I'm going to place it right on top.
It's just like so funny.
It literally
Right?
is
Like the method
chicken
is
under a brick.
Yeah, it really is.
So what we're doing now is by doing this, we're searing that skin on the outside. You're getting some really nice grill marks on that. The skin is going to caramelize a little bit because
Okay.
there is sugar in that brining
Right,
as well.
and you got the nice pressure
And you
on
got
there.
the pressure on there.
Yep.
So we're going to do that one side, and you'd want to do it on a medium to high heat, depending
Okay.
on the temperature of your barbecue. And then you're going to flip it over, and you're going to do the other side. You're going to put the brick on top of the other side as well, and you're going to get a nice caramelization on that side as well. But by doing it this side first, the fat that's on that skin is going to give a little bit of a coating on the grill, so
okay.
it helps it from sticking
I
on
was
the
going
other
to
side.
ask you because a lot of times we have that problem with chicken and certain meats that are on the grill that they do. So there isn't any other prep to the grill at this point.
I did give it a scrape ahead of time,
Right.
and then just used a rag with a little bit of oil,
Just a little bit of oil.
and just a little bit of oil, and give it a brush down.
Okay.
And that, again, it gives it almost a natural coating on it.
Yes.
So that'll help it prevent it from sticking as well.
Now, obviously, we want to, with chicken in particular, we really want to make sure this is cooked
Yes.
thoroughly, right? So, it's one of those things that people get a little bit afraid of. You know, chicken is one of those easygoing meats, but when it comes to cooking it, especially with bone in, you really want to make sure that it's all the way through.
All the way. And that's why what we're going to do is with this, we're going to do about a quarter of it on the grill.
Okay.
And then we're going to finish it in the oven for another 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
But the nice thing is, and again, like you said, people are very worried about doing chicken.
Yes.
About undercooking and stuff like
Kind
that.
of don't want to make your guests sick.
Yeah, there's that. But brining really helps with that because you can cook it all the way through well done, and you're still going to retain a lot of moisture because of that brine.
So that is really, that's good for a variety of reasons there. Plus you're also, as you say, by adding all those fresh herbs, you're infusing lots of flavor in there too.
That's right.
So it's just, you're putting yourself in a good position. Okay, so I mean, pick up a brick really kind of anywhere. Make sure you wrap it.
Make sure you wrap it, if you get a nice clay brick, you don't necessarily need to wrap it. I would say send it through the dishwasher, give it a quick wash.
Okay.
But with ours, we do, I did tin foil it. It also helps a little bit with the cooking process because you have that reflection of heat.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Okay, so basically in a minute or two, we're gonna let this cook for a little bit.
We're gonna cook, flip it.
Flip.
Yeah, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side.
Yep.
We'll put it into a pan. We're gonna throw it into the oven.
So that's what we'll do. We'll let this continue to cook, and we'll do all those steps. We'll come back, and we'll make sure we prep this all out, and you know, we can talk about maybe some of the cool accompaniments that you can have. I mean, with barbecuing in the summertime, people just sometimes just like a whole lot of meat, but
oh, you could do anything on that. I mean, while this is going on, you know, you could always grill some vegetables and stuff like that as well.
And that's a great part, right? Get some veggies
going,
and you got
that's right.
Use it. All right, we're gonna come right back in a few, and we'll finish this up for you.
When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
Welcome back to TERRA at Home, back with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra, and we've officially removed our chicken from the oven now.
Yeah, we took it out of the oven. As you can see, it really caramelized that skin, finished cooking it for us, and also left us a little bit of drippings on the bottom of the pan, which is really nice because we're going to use that in a bit of a sauce that we're going to make. So,
all right.
Yeah. So to do a sauce for this one, we're going to stick with the savory flavors.
Okay.
So I'm going to put in some butter. Now I'm using unsalted butter. And I have some pesto sauce. Now this is our pesto sauce that we make in the restaurant.
Okay.
So it is a nut-free pesto. You can use nuts in this. It would work very well if you'd like. But this one is nut-free, and we do that for allergies and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess it just makes it easier for you guys, right?
Exactly. So we're just going to let the butter melt, and then we're going to take a little bit of pepper. We'll add a pinch of pepper into that. A little bit of salt. Now the pesto itself already had some cheese in there, and it has a little bit of salt to begin with,
some salt,
so it doesn't need too much.
Okay.
And then we're going to go along with a little bit of citrus to balance the dish, and I'm just zesting some lemon right into this. You don't really need to cook this because the pesto, you know, it's a very delicate flavor to begin with.
Right.
You don't want that basil to burn.
No.
So
okay.
you just kind of want to incorporate all those flavors and melt it down.
This sounds good already. Just the flavor components together are just like, oh, this is going to be amazing. It smells great to begin with.
So we'll plate this.
So I'll remind our viewers, of course, that you can find our recipes on terragreenhouses.com as well. So this is a great summer recipe to make, and of course, we love being able to get outside and use that grill. So use some of the drippings in there. I noticed.
I use some, yeah, because you do have some of that stuff that the liquid that we brined in there, and this just helps flavor it all.
And just give it a little pour over top, and wow, well, that just looks amazing.
And always like to garnish with what we've made it with, so people have an understanding of what they're about to eat.
Beautiful.
There's some fresh basil.
Look at that. That is a summer treat right there in itself. Get outside, use your grill. Thank you so much, Chef Mark. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good stuff. All right, we'll have more TERRA at Home next week, and have yourself a great weekend.
When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.